Hello, and welcome back to the Handy Outdoorsman. Today, we're going to be working on food plots for this coming fall hunting season. Here, we're at a horse farm, not to ride them, but to collect some compost. Found a gentleman on Craigslist that was giving away free compost and was willing to load it as well. And I could have as much of it as I wanted, no questions asked or limits, so that worked out pretty well. And I need a lot, as the soil I'm dealing with on my food plots is very low in pH, and I was hoping to find a place closer to the property where I can pick some up, but that wasn't the case. So the missus and I made a couple of day trips to take the compost up to the property. And as you can see here, I'm using something called a cargo bed unloader that I picked up from Harbor Freight. It's about $44, and with a coupon you can pick it up for right around $38. And it does a pretty good job of easily removing about 98% of the material in the truck of the bed. And as you can see here, it took less than a minute to unload. So it's pretty handy, and it saved a lot of time and definitely saved a lot of work in getting this done. And all that remains is just a little on the sides to clean up, but compared to the amount that was in the truck, this is nothing to take out and clean up and get it out of the truck. So it was well worth the $38 and something from Harbor Freight that works pretty well. 2 weeks ago, as you saw in my last video, we picked up about 2,000 pounds of pelletized lime. And this is for 2 food plots. Now, we're putting about 500 pounds of lime on the carryall right now. And then we're going to take this to the back food plot, which is about 1/8 of an acre. But after a quick review on the tractor, my daughter is on it, and she's taking the lime to the back food plot. And I'll have to say that having the missus and the daughter here during this trip was definitely a time saver for me, because I was able to give them a task while I went and prepped and got ready for the next task. And you know what? We're spending good quality time together. We're outdoors and we're isolating ourselves in the current conditions. And you know, we're working on something that we'll all be able to enjoy in the fall when hunting season comes around. So here, my daughter is disking the main plot. Now, it did have some growth on it, but it was mostly grass. And what I really wanted to do this year was to get a good mixture between the lime and the compost, get worked into the soil and not just spread on the top. So I thought disking would ensure that we at least get down the first few inches into the soil so that the lime can be into the soil. And if you haven't seen my other videos on how to put in a food plot, I'll put a link in the description and try and put a tag above so that you can see the videos on the steps I took last year from very beginning to the end on, you know, putting in the food plot. Now remember that this is only my second year and I'm still learning. I consider myself to be still a novice, but by doing one last year I gained the confidence in moving forward and trying to do this again. And no matter what you do, you know, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. So this year I went ahead and purchased a broadcast spreader, and that's what we're going to be using to spread the lime. I did not want to do what I did last year, which is to spread it by hand. Now that was a backbreaker. That was a chore, and I'd have to say it was a dirty chore as well. But you know what? We got it done. You do what you do to get the job done. But this year, like I said, we purchased this broadcast spreader, and we're going to be pulling it behind the three-wheeler. Now, this particular spreader holds about 160 pounds of lime. That's about 4 bags. And, you know, pulling it behind the three-wheeler here, it works very well. We get a nice even coat everywhere. We don't have clumps when I was trying to do it by hand. It just wasn't spread evenly. That's why I have a little bit more confidence this year, is because we're doing it a little bit better than we did last year. Hopefully these efforts will pay off in the end. The next task was to start spreading the compost. Here I'm loading up a mini spreader that's connected to the tractor. And having both the tractor and the three-wheeler will allow us to spread the lime and the compost at the same time, and we're able to, one, mix it in more thoroughly before we disc it, as well as speed things up. So this is what I meant earlier, that I'm able to have one person do one thing and then another person assist me with doing something else. But it all works out working together as a family. So here we are on the last load of compost. As you can see in the background, we were able to get an even coat across the entire plot. Now keep in mind that this was 2 pickup loads and it was just enough. So I will continue to pick up more loads over the summer to ensure that I've got plenty, possibly for the fall if I'd like to put down another coat, and or for next spring, just in case he's not giving away next year. I'll have plenty on hand. So I did not show any videos of last fall hunting season, but I was able to harvest a doe off of this field in the late rifle season. I had plenty of deer on the food plot numerous times when I was hunting, so this tells me that the deer are already used to the plot being here. And hopefully with the additional work we're doing this year, the plot will be more productive from a crop standpoint. And then with that being there, then the deer will be more likely to use the field because it is a good food source for them. If you're new to my channel, check out the series of videos I did in restoring this 1949 Ford 9N tractor. It started out as a tune-up, but I ended up being or doing a complete rebuild on the tractor. And I'm glad I did, because now I've gained the knowledge of working on this tractor and how it works, and I feel much more comfortable in doing my own repairs if something should break down. And Ford did a great job with the design of this because it is so simple to work on. I'm not a mechanic, but I was able to completely rebuild this with very little prior skill set. So what we're doing here is disking in all of the compost and lime to make sure that it's mixed in well. We're not going too deep, but we just wanted to make sure that it's not laying on the top and that it's mixed in thoroughly. Now what we're going to do is we gave the field a quick drag just to knock down a lot of the high spots so that when we put in the seed, then it's not going to be buried too deep. And the seed I'm putting in is Whitetail Institute Imperial Clover. It's the same thing I put down last year, and it did okay. And again, I said that what I said earlier was that I don't think I did a good enough job in prepping the soil. It was virgin soil. So I'd give this a chance one more time to see if it's going to grow. Once the seed is down, I'm giving it a light drag to make sure I have good seed to soil contact. And we are expecting rain in the next few days, so that should be a good boost for this as well. So that's it. This is Food Plot Season 2. So I ask that you stick around, come back, visit again, and see the status of this and see how this year turns out compared to last year. But I really appreciate you watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. So until the next video, take care and God bless.